today. Bill Phillips, Republican analyst, and Larry Woods, Democratic analyst. We're talking about the 2022 election coming up and what's maybe happening in 2024 as well. Gentlemen, going back to the January 6th committee, on Thursday, Jenny Thomas, the wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, testified before this committee. Is that a major new development, Larry? Is something going to happen here that's going to blow up a whole new place, or is the investigation gotten so broad now it's kind of hard to put it into a TV show?
It's gotten that broad. I think the insiders in Washington are very eager for Jenny Thomas, Mrs. Thomas, to testify. I'm not sure that we don't already know for a couple of years what her political views are. I think most Supreme Court justice spouses have enough sense not to air their political views publicly. She disagrees with that approach, obviously. That doesn't make her a wrongdoer. I mean, I don't care for her views, but she's got as much right to express her views as any of us do.
Bill, there is one piece of legislation that's come out of this that's already passed the House. It would change the certification process to make sure it's clear the vice president can't stop that and say the election's not fair. They also ups the number of objections it takes to start doing some kind of review on the vote. Senator McConnell has now endorsed that. Is some kind of legislation, either the Senate version or the House version, likely to get out and President Biden sign into law?
I think so, and I think that's a very favorable sign that some people are beginning to see the need to work together on issues that are important to the nation.
Yeah. Now, I noticed that Donald Trump doesn't like that idea, and he and Mitch McConnell have continued to butt heads. Are we going to have a permanent schism in the Republican Party between these, I guess, two wings of the party?
Well, I think so, because there's a few left that are still fighting the Taft-Eisenhower battle inside the Republican Party, so it's time to have a new schism.
Larry, what are your thoughts about Liz Cheney? She's the vice chairman of this committee. She's been very outspoken. She voted to impeach Donald Trump. She lost her re-election bid. She'd become a national figure if she wasn't already one. But in her situation, is she in a situation now where she's going to try to run for president? Could she be a credible candidate in the Republican side, or is she going to have to run as an independent? And that's a whole other kettle of fish.
She has successfully changed her brand from being, I'm a child of former Vice President Cheney, to I'm an independent-minded politician who wants to get at the truth kind of image. I think she will run for president, probably as an independent, but maybe in the Republican primary, either in the primary or as an independent. I think she'll run because she'll raise millions of dollars on the internet.
But the amount of money she raises, Bill, that's not very important. It's getting on all the states' ballots. And as I recall, the last time we've had independent candidates try to come and run, they've had trouble getting on the ballot in anywhere close to 50 states.
Yeah, and most of the independent candidates recognize that. It's they've got an agenda they want to get out there, and she certainly has one now.
Let's turn to the state of Tennessee. The governor, Bill Lee, is seeking re-election. All the governors in Tennessee that had a chance to run for a second term for 4 years have been elected pretty easily. Larry, is that what we're facing? Mr. Martin, who's running as your nominee, has he got any kind of chance at all?
I believe Governor Lee will win re-election. I won't be voting for him, but I think he will win re-election. He's got some mighty smart staffers that he doesn't always follow their advice. If he follows their advice, he'll win.
Bill, how was it going to take for the Democrats to win another statewide race? I mean, they haven't won a governor's race since 2006 when Phil Bredesen was reelected. They haven't won a Senate race since Al Gore was reelected in 1990. That's a long time ago. Is the Democratic Party almost ceased to exist on a statewide basis in Tennessee?
Well, persistence is what it's going to take, and time and some patience. But the pendulum will eventually swing back, and that will be good overall.
So, Larry, the Hillsdale College controversy is supposed to be an appeal of three of their charter schools being turned down in some counties. Suddenly this week they announced, no, we're going to drop those. There's just too much heat on this. I mean, even Republican lawmakers didn't like this whole idea of having Hillsdale come in after the comments by their college president.
I think a significant number of the Republican lawmakers would like for Hillsdale College to go away. They see as a threat back in their local community. Several of them the other day were quoted as saying they can't come in here and have a state board overrule the local board of education. Of course they can. They're the ones that passed that law.
The law. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, shows you how little attention gets paid sometimes.
Bill, the Republicans have supermajorities in both houses of the legislature. Is that likely to continue? Might it even expand a little bit because they just redrew the lines, and you know they tried to make that as favorable as they could?
Oh, absolutely, and I think they were probably successful at that, and they will continue for a while, but we tend to forget that the Democrats, not too far back in history, had a supermajority at the legislature.
Larry, do the Republicans have a chance to even pick up a seat in Davidson County, which is a rare thing for them to hold a seat here? Is Cable Hemmer particularly got a real challenge against Michelle Freeman?
I think Caleb's going to win that race fairly easily. Now, it's a new district. They've changed the line, so I'm not totally confident about that. I know exactly what district it is, but he started work hard early, raised money early. Traditionally, it's a Democratic seat. I think he'll win it.
Bill, the congressional seats were also divided up. In this case, Nashville was divided up into 3 different districts. The 2 incumbents look to be in pretty good shape, I would imagine. What about the open seat? Is Andy Ogles going to win that pretty handily? It was drawn to be a Republican, so it would have easily voted for Donald Trump had that been a district 2 years ago.
Well, I think that Andy will win that election. Mixed feelings about how that whole district was handled. As a former deputy mayor of Davidson County, I didn't like what the legislature did, but I think the way it's drawn, he's going to get in there.
Larry, I think our last question, I think we'll just have to go ahead. Thank you both for being on the program. We appreciate you. There's so many things to talk about. We don't have time to get to all of them. But the poll, Larry, that we've seen coming up from Campbell saying she's up by 4 points or something in the race, not much credibility to that, or is that still a possibility?
Well, those kind of polls help tremendously on fundraising, but it's way too far away from the election itself to use that and say, oh, well, she's going to win. If she keeps working really hard, she might win. It's going to be close.
Bill Phillips, Larry Woods, thank you so much for being here. I'm sure it's going to be fun in November. May have you back before then to talk about this more.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us this week on Inside Politics. Hope you'll be back here again for a future show. If you can't get enough politics in the meantime, you can go to the News Channel of our website. You'll find my Capitol View commentary there. There's a commentary posted every Friday afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you here next time. Goodbye.